Imagine you're in the office one day when you look up and see someone who you particularly despise walking past your window and towards your office door. Your state immediately changes from mildly anxious to overwhelmingly negative. As you ask yourself, why do I have to deal with this negative, irritating lowlife who is always complaining and moaning about my products, services, prices and my business decisions? Why me and why now? But think for a moment about what has caused you to feel like this. Most of us would conclude that this scumbag is the source of our stress. But on closer inspection, is it entirely this person's fault? Do they really have this much control over you? Do they reach deep inside your brain in an attempt to distress your soul? The fact of the matter is, this person is physically harmless. Although they may psychologically challenge you, they will do you no harm. Then why do you so easily get revved up at the sight of them? What's the difference between this person and someone whom you do not recognise? It's simply your belief that this person carries a threat, so your body responds by giving you the tools you need to either hide under the desk without them seeing you, or exterminate them in the quickest possible manner without your boss flickering an eyelid. You've probably learnt to react like this very quickly. People always say that we are slow learners, but this douchebag annoyed you only once before. From then on, your brain immediately revs you up on the next encounter. Sitting in a traffic jam is no more distressing than sitting at home on the sofa. It is the meaning you give to the situation that gives it distress. A fellow commuter raising a finger is no more distressing than them raising a thumb. It's what you believe about the signal that gives it its distress. Quite simply, between the event and the emotion quietly lies a belief. There's not a single problem that can affect how you feel. The problem has to be invited in and allowed to influence your emotions. All distress we suffer comes from trying to scramble to solid ground that doesn't exist. Most of our actions come from a desire for safety and security, but the desire for security leads to irrational behavior all of the time. Behavior that doesn't achieve what you want it to achieve. Reacting with fury to something you have no control over is irrational. For example, going into a bar and discovering that they have run out of your favourite beer. Reacting with fury will not invent beer. The rational thing to do is to accept the fact or go to a different bar. Don't forget you chose the bar. If it was that important, why didn't you ring them up and check before you left home? Living life and feeling secure are polar opposites. Security is both a feeling and a reality. Obviously entirely different things. As a human being, you are more likely to fear something you can call to mind more easily, or an event that has happened close to you. This sort of thinking served us well in the past, when we needed to be fearful of those poisonous berries that made us ill. But many psychologists say that this is the only point in time where the change in the environment rapidly outpaces evolution of the brain. We are struggling to cope with changes in technology and modern society. Changes such as the TV, internet and social media reporting the most fearful events from across the globe on a daily basis. Bringing fearful events closer to us and making them much easier to recall to mind, such as plane crashes and murders. I'm not saying don't fear these things, they are obviously real dangers. But if you give up plane travel and take a car, you are more likely to die. If you give up going out and sit on the sofa, you are more likely to die of heart disease. Taking a car or sitting in may give you the feeling of security, but the reality is that you will be in more danger than before. Highly irrational behaviour due to the tendency of your brain to fear things close up to you and not thinking through rationally about the reality of life. You might think you want security to be happy, but you don't. It doesn't exist. Insecurity equals life, and we cannot escape it. That's not to say we shouldn't take measures to avoid those poisonous berries. It means we shouldn't waste our life on activities that we think will finally make us happy and secure, like that new car, house, job, partner, fame and fortune, none of which will do so. Once we acquire these things, we will realise that there is no such thing as solid ground, and that we have wasted our one opportunity at life by working towards something that doesn't exist, and suffered much in doing so.